It is getting bad.
Can't even go fishing. Can't do because the kids and were this and that. I haven't seen my grandson in 2 weeks because one of the people got sick. They were scared Grace and I were going to get sick, and
So I finally put the trolling motor on my bay boat, and since it was windy, it was choppy outside. My son and I had a bunch of spots on Common Crest where we fished.
It says I don't have
Yeah.
video on.
For a peacock.
Just like I
And I've seen guys in like flats boats, like get to these lakes. So I looked up on Fish and Wildlife.
You want me to have her speak?
Boat ramp finder, right behind the falls, the mall. There's a boat ramp, but I mean, it's like it's just and we went out and we caught peacock. It was great, but like I'm lucky that it fell within the tides. Like I was looking at the tides. I've got like a bar to hang on to on my center console. If there was like that much space between the console, the bottom of the bridges, we're going underneath.
got through.
Wow. So I looked at the tide charts. I was like, man, we don't want to stay too long.
What are you using for bait for the peacock? Peacocks.
Good evening.
He said right now the peacocks are in love, and that you're not going to see them a lot right now.
Good evening.
Yeah, right. And you know what the best bait for a peacock is? A baby peacock. We used to at the lakes. We used to throw a net for them and catch a bunch of them. But in there, you put one out there, and one time I put one out about that long because there was this big male hanging around. He must have been 8 to 10 pounds.
Yeah.
I hooked that sucker. He broke my line.
Yeah.
You know they're delicious eating.
Yeah. No, I mean I just throw them back, but I bet they are.
No, they are.
Yeah.
My sons used to sell them to the guy down at $3 a fish.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone they catch, he fillet them and eat them.
Yep. Yep.
They're like a saltwater fish. They're good. They're not like a largemouth. I used to use torpedo on the top. Torpedo, the yellow one, sometimes white. Catch them all the time.
Well, they don't really get. They won't hit one very often. I caught one on a one.
Well, my brother's catching them in the lake. Believe it or not, now it's been what, John, and it's been 20 years since I've been fishing for them with my kids, and they've adapted. They'll eat a live worm.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, live worm, like a plastic worm.
No.
Unless you go right over the net.
Yeah.
Feed them a bubbly leg on August on Grass Lake, and they're starting to get people.
okay. Oh, she can hear us.
But they're starting to get. So I caught one there. It was like a hybrid. If you look at a large mount.
Good evening.
Yeah.
It was a cross.
Yeah.
And since then, my son has got a couple more in there. So they're starting to get peacocks in there.
Well, there 25 years ago. Yeah. Well, you know what happened? You know what happened in between?
Good evening, Erica.
A couple of the, what would it be? There was a 1 year where they had a real bad cold snap. If you went to them lakes, you would have found.
Good evening.
Time to come back because they can't take the temperature. Oh man, you should have been with me fishing. I used to take kids out there fishing, get in trouble with the owners of the homes. They're worse now, are they?
Yeah, you can't go on people's property now.
How about if you get access?
Oh yeah, no.
You can fish at our house anytime
Yeah, how are you?
on
Okay? Okay. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Bain,
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Garcia,
Here.
Councilman Best,
Present.
Councilwoman Mitchell,
Here.
Councilman Fahed.
Here.
Please stand for invocation. Vice Mayor Garcia today.
Heavenly Father, we ask that you put your hand upon the city council as we do only your will. We ask that you please protect those soldiers that are fighting to protect our country and defend our freedom. We also ask you, Lord, that you help those families that are dealing with the pandemic in this very tough time. It's in your name that we pray. Amen.
We'll say the pledge, right hand over your heart, hats off. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okie dokie. Okay, we go right to open forum. Was it Deves? You have the floor.
Good evening. Once again, my name is Dalvis Velasco. I was a month ago here in the previous council meeting addressing two issues, the fire hydrant and also the golf balls by Eldron Drive. A week later, I follow up with Tammy, Mr. Alonso's assistant, and she mentioned that the hydrant issue, the fire hydrant issue, was passed to the county, and the golf balls, they were looking at the police reports. A week after that, I follow up again, and Tammy informed me that the same information from the previous week, and that the fire hydrants have been passed to the public works, and that they have called the county. The golf balls, that there were only 3 reports, in which that seems to be insignificant. Today, I was a witness when David Valdez, a kidnap with a disability, one of our residents, was almost hit by one ball. They called the police, and precisely that type of approach that the police has in front of these situations is what makes the residents around the golf course not to call. I was there when the police officer Rodriguez said, "You live in front of a golf course, what can you expect?" Right there. Second, that he wasn't going to write any report. So, but I kept insisting. I said, okay, we need to have something done. And we're bringing this to the city. And that's why we don't get reports done. But if it is your child, your mother, I bet you this will be different. So this is frustrating for anyone that is looking for help. We can expect balls, but we cannot expect a child or someone to be injured or killed. That's all.
Thank you. Brenda?
For the record, I'm Brenda Knight. I know most of you. Thanks for having me. Nice to see you.
Hi, Brenda.
Forgive my attire. I came straight from Jazzercise. Walter, we haven't met formally, but I've been in your house. I know your wife, Adriana. Well, congratulations, Mayor Maria. The reason I'm here tonight is because my new contract with the city reads that I pay a per person fee for each student that attends Jazzercise, which is extremely high. It's $12 per person. Most cities practically all the cities that I surveyed pay a percentage. The instructor pays a percentage. So I'm requesting the same thing. I currently charge $15 for a one-time walk-in. I pay 20% to Jazzercise because that's what we have to do right off the top. That leaves $12, which would go to the city, which leaves me with zero. We're running a special right now across the nation, which is $39 for 10 days. Try it out. Again, once you take the 20%, give the city $12, I'm left with, I'm paying like 39%. All the surrounding cities that I surveyed either pay 20 or 25%, which I think is reasonable. And as I make money, so does the city. I mean, I'm not in this to make a lot of money or I wouldn't be doing it. It's because I love it. I've been doing, this is my 40th anniversary, by the way. Last month, it was 40 years that I've been teaching and here in the city. And frankly, I do it because I love it. I could never live off of it. So I just ask you to work with me and consider the percentage basis as opposed to a flat fee. I called corporate. Nobody pays that. I called all my associates in the area that work with different cities. Nobody pays a flat fee. They're all on percentages, and I'd like to be in that same grouping. I'd pay 20, I'd pay 25.
I would like to ask questions and engage, and I'm sorry, through the mayor, but you came up and spoke during open forum.
Chair, this is not in order.
Correct. So
I'm
it's
sorry.
okay. So if you wouldn't mind waiting until we bring up your item, this is going to be a quick agenda either way.
Oh,
So we
okay.
can have the discussion when we're on your agenda item. That'd be
Perfect. I
great.
apologize. I wish
That's
you would
okay.
have told me sooner. Obviously, I don't know the protocol.
I appreciate that you think we're doing such a great job that you haven't come up here in all these years. Thank you.
Okay, we go on. That was everybody that signed up for open forum. We go to 6A, approval of the council meetings, February 22nd.
Make a motion, Mayor?
Second.
Call the vote.
Vice Mayor Garcia,
Yes.
Councilman Best,
Hi.
Councilwoman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Fahet, Mayor Bain.
Yes,
My
we
motion
have
was to
no reports. We have no public hearings. We have consent agenda. Resolution 9A.
This is a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Miami Springs, Florida, selecting Stonehenge Construction LLC for the Prince Field Drainage Improvement Project pursuant to request for proposal number 02/2021, approving a construction agreement in the amount not to exceed $57,441 and providing for an effective date.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion move, sir.
Second.
Second, further discussion?
I do have a question,
Mhm.
Mayor, if I may. This contract for the drainage of Prince Field, is this something, William, that we can also apply or to the Stafford Park situation? Because we have a drainage issue at Stafford Park.
Right.
Can we piggyback on this and try to expand or massage this
The
somewhat?
problem at Stafford Park is totally different than this. This is just to address the flooding issue we have under the dugouts on Prince Field on the Apache side. When you talk about Stafford Park, that's going to be partly addressed with the East Drive project, the pump station that we're going to put out there. But more than that, Stafford Park, to get that flooding under control, you're talking military project, because you have to run drainage lines down that's a more expensive. And remember, Stafford is not ours. This is the only field that's really ours. But $57,000, all that's getting us is a couple of drains under the dugouts to prevent that flooding on that section.
It seems like a very reasonable amount if it would address drainage issues
Right.
for Stafford Park.
Right.
But we are then with the appropriations that we've requested with the
Correct.
state for staff
Correct.
for
That
East Drive
pump
and all of
station-
that would take care
That
of.
pump
our-
station that's proposed for the east side will also alleviate some of the flooding in Stafford. Not all of it, but some will make the water flow out faster.
Just while we're on the subject, Mayor, if I might, what the councilwoman just mentioned, is it possible that we could include the issue to alleviate the entire problem at Stafford Park with the additional funding that might be forthcoming?
You talk about Stafford?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The pump station that we're going to build there, that's going to do is get the water out faster when the canals are open.
Right, but it won't alleviate the entire problem, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. That's been looked at in prior years.
I recall reading a study on that, actually. Yeah.
And that project is millions of dollars.
Wow.
To get that flooding issue at Stafford.
Just because of the low level area that it is. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you,
anything
Mayor.
else?
Still as part of the discussion, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Manager, so the millions that it's going to cost to fix the problem, again, I know we're dealing with Prince Field right now, but in reference to dealing with the issue at Stafford, is that something that the city is looking at remedying that issue and us having to fork up the money for
Definitely.
the millions of dollars for Stafford Park?
Definitely.
That's millions in plural. Can you give me a rough estimate of how many millions it's going to cost to fix that?
Not offhand, but I've know it's been looked at when Mr. Borgman was here and Ron Gorland,
You remember that?
Tom Nash,
Right.
and it's a pretty sizable project.
More or less than 5?
More?
More or less than 5 million?
I'd say less.
Less than 5,
Less than 5, yeah.
but it's definitely between one. I would say between 1 and 2 million. Is that the number you heard?
All right, my other question is if we were not using that property, I know we use it as a park, would we be paying for this? Like if it wasn't that we're using it as our field and we need to take care of the drainage because we use that as a park, would we be paying that $2 million or so, the millions to fix it? It's a county property.
It's a
Right.
school board
School
property.
School board.
A county school
School
board
board.
property.
Yeah.
They allow us the use of it. There's a serious drainage issue that's there that roughly, let's say, call it $2 million, if that's the number. It's going to come out of our end. We got to go out and find the money to fix that,
Right.
to fix that issue. If this was just the school board property, like for example, like the middle school, for example, we wouldn't be paying for it. The only reason that we're paying for it is because we use it as a park.
Correct.
Mhm.
Versus that. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Oh,
I have no further questions, Mayor.
No, the other thing, just for last comment, is that this is going to have to, down the road, it's going to have to try to get some from water management, some kind of grant or something to help out the
Right,
situation.
right.
And then somebody's going to have to reach out to the school board and see if they want to be partners in getting it fixed. That's where it's going to be because of the amount of money that's going to cost.
I think the mayor makes a very good point here. In addition to that, possibly the county in general could assist in some way to.
I mean, that's a negotiation. It's going to have to be
Exactly.
done.
Yep.
Can I just get some clarification from Mr. Orlando? So just because I know that I was the last person, I think, to bring it up. I think this has come up before, but just to get some clarification, because we're talking about Stafford Park, but my understanding, and just correct me if I'm wrong, just for the record, is that the pump station, what it's really going to, or targeted to do is alleviate the flooding on Oakwood and Forest, which is where the residents are at.
Right.
Right. I mean, the Stafford Park is belongs to the school board, but the pump station is to alleviate what's happening in that area in Oakwood and Forest.
Which will help Stafford
Of,
to a point.
of course. And also my understanding, just for the record, is that this is something that was on our agenda for the state, and there were some monies that got vetoed at the last minute by the governor because of COVID. And once again, we're trying to get this through. So I think we're trying to get people to help us to get this done in terms of stormwater mitigation, correct?
Correct.
Great. Thank you.
You got it. Okay, we go to new business.
No, we have to
You
call.
got a first and a second, sir.
I called the vote, right?
No,
We got a first and a
Did I
second.
get a first and second? I mean.
Yeah.
Waiting.
Do I have to call a vote? Call a vote, please.
Vice Mayor Garcia,
Yes.
Councilman Best,
Hi.
Councilwoman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Fahed,
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes, I got thrown off with all the questions. We go to, because the subject was Prince Field and we got off on
Yeah.
the wrong subject. Okay, we go to 11A, resolution.
This is a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Miami Springs, Florida, approving a First Amendment to the Professional Services Agreement with Brenda Knight, a licensed franchisee of Jazzercise Inc., providing for authorization, providing for an effective date. As discussion, in 2018, the city entered into an agreement with Brenda Knight for the use of the city's multipurpose room at the community center to provide Jazzercise instruction. The 2018 agreement is currently in its final renewal year. The first year of agreement was April 2018 to March 2019. Second year was April 2019 to March 2020. And the third year was for April 2020 to March 2021. Due to COVID-19, the COVID-19 pandemic, Ms. Knight was unable to operate the instructional program from March 2020 through mid-June 2020. She began classes again in mid-June at the Aquatic Center. The program had to cut its schedule in half to 4 hours weekly, Monday through Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. There are no weekend classes, and the program averages 8 to 10 people per class. Before the pandemic, the program averaged 25 participants, and classes were also held on Tuesday and Thursdays from 5 to 6 and on Saturdays. The current agreement requires a $300 a month usage fee. After speaking to Brenda Knight about her program, we have come up with the following terms to amend the 2018 agreement. Number one, for the months of March 1st through June 30th of 2020, the program was not operating due to COVID-19, so the user fee will be waived for these months. Ms. Knight will also pay a lump sum of $350 for the use from July 1st, 2020 to January 31st, 2021. 7 months at $50 per month, since during this period, there were only between 4 to 6 participants. Beginning retroactive to February 1st, 2021, she will pay $12 per participant. There are currently 10 participants, so she will begin in February at $120 per month, and the expectation is that the usage fee will increase based on the number of participants. As the program increases, her use fee will increase accordingly, up to a maximum of $300 per month, which is 25 participants times 12. The minimum she will pay is $120 per month. Based on this $12 per participant structure, with a minimum and maximum monthly payment, Ms. Knight will effectively be paying less than $7 a day to use a designated space, assuming the use of 4 hours per week at $12 per participant, with 10 participants at $120 per month, and a maximum of $17.31 per day, assuming the same thing, a 4 hour per week at $12 per participant, with a maximum fee of $300 per month. The use scheduled for the program is amended to provide that she will conduct the program 4 days a week, one hour per day. The term of the agreement will be extended to provide 3 additional option years at the city's discretion, April 2021 to March 2022, up to April 2023 to March 2024. Ms. Knight has provided this service to our residents for many years. For this reason, staff recommends approving the first amendment to the agreement. Please keep in mind that as part of the agreement, Ms. Knight also provides the city with a $1 million insurance policy to cover any liability.
Okay.
Through the chair, I'd like to respectfully request that this be stricken from the agenda this evening and for reconsideration. Thank you, sir.
Was this agreed upon between Ms. Knight and the city?
Correct.
This was agreed upon.
Right.
Mr.
But Mayor,
Well,
Can I
wait,
speak again?
yeah, but it would, but what you just read, everything was agreed upon with Ms. Knight.
That's what was discussed with,
But I mean, what's being proposed now was agreed upon.
Again,
Or are you going to try to, you want, because if you're going to
Sorry,
come and
wait-
talk, you're
wait
going
a
to
second.
negotiate, not with us.
right. Again, through the chair, I'd like to ask that this be stricken and further discussed.
Okay, I need a
I'm
second.
gonna second his motion, Mayor.
second that.
Okay.
There's a first and a second on it, but for discussion, before we do that, Ms. Knight, I recommend that you get together with staff so that when the recommendation comes back to us, it isn't that there was a discussion back and forth, that that whatever the recommendation, the proposal is something that you two amicably agree upon, so we can consider it and vote
Exactly.
on it.
Yeah.
So that there is no, you coming up saying, well, I called around. It's my recommendation that we're going to defer it now. We're not going to vote on it right now. Hopefully it'll pass now. And then you go back to staff and have staff bring back a recommendation to us. That's what I recommend. So there's no,
We're not in the position to negotiate with you. You said your piece and what have you. The negotiation has to be through the manager's office and you, and then brought up to us.
Okay.
Okay, we're not the privy to negotiate with this in the public because it's a contract
okay, I'm good.
between you two. So I got a first and a second.
Just to be clear on this vote, the vote is that we are striking the item tonight.
Yes, sir.
You're
Thank you, sir.
deferring,
Thank you.
correct?
Yeah.
It's to defer to a next meeting. It's not striking. It's deferring to a next
Well, his
meeting.
motion was
I-
to strike it. If they come back to us with
I understand, Madam Clerk.
another proposed one,
Yeah.
that's fine.
We'll defer the item and
No,
with
I don't
instructions.
think he's deferring it.
I am.
Oh, you
That's
want
what
to
I- that's
defer?
what I requested,
fine.
that we
That's your intent?
strike it from the agenda
Okay,
tonight
defer.
until further discussion
All
right, we'll
occurs.
defer.
Defer with the understanding
That's
that
a-
we'll
that's-
come back with a
So,
Yes,
so
sir.
moved.
negotiated
He was
agreement.
asked twice.
I
that's all.
second that.
Seconded, yeah.
I second that, yes.
Okay, we got it straight now because
Yep.
he was saying strike it.
I did.
I understand.
Okay, call the vote.
Vice Mayor Garcia,
Yes.
Councilman Best,
Aye.
Councilwoman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Behet,
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes, we go to 11B.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, before you continue with it, I'm assuming that Jazzercise will still continue as is. There's not going to be a stop to it because you're entering into negotiation, correct? Okay, all right, no problem. I just want to make sure. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, well, since you're saying that under the agreement that we have right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like 11B. A resolution. Where's the lady with the voice?
Oh, is it Tammy that reads the resolution or you?
The resolution of the city council, city council of the city of Miami Springs, Florida, providing for the second amendment to the fiscal year 2021 general fund budget and special revenue fund budget to record the CARES Act funding to pay for the cost of the COVID-19 grocery card program and the purchase of temperature kiosks, funding for the purchase of a new AC chiller for the community center, to record insurance reimbursement for a replacement police vehicle, and funding for the purchase of a new vehicle for the building and code department and providing for an effective date. These are all items that have been approved by council previously, and we're just doing the budget amendment.
Gotcha.
Okay. Through
Entertain a
the
motion?
motion to move through the chair for discussion, if I might. Do we?
First and a second there.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. Mr. Manager, I think I asked this question at a previous meeting, but the insurance is obviously run out on that, right?
The what?
The insurance.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Anything else? Call the vote.
Vice Mayor Garcia, Councilman Best,
Aye.
Councilwoman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Behet,
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes, we go on to 11C, a resolution.
Yes, good evening. This is a recommendation by council to approve an execution of a continuing professional services agreement with Bermello Ajamil and Partners, Inc. On September 18th, 2020, we advertised the RFQ for general engineering and architectural services. And it was done in accordance with the CCNA. A mandatory pre-bid was held on October 1st of 2020 with 47 firms in attendance. On November 19th, 2020, the request for qualification proposals were due and 15 companies or firms responded. All responses were evaluated and deemed responsive. Responses were reviewed and evaluated by the selection committee comprised of Chris Hyde, our city planner, Chris Perez, sitting in for Lazaro Garaboa as the Public Works Director, and Rogelio Madan as the AICP Chief of Community Planning and Sustainability for the City of Miami Beach, in a public meeting held on February 2nd, 2020. The selection committee ranked the 15 firms. 3 consultants were shortlisted, in which Bermello Ajamil and Partners was considered the highest ranked and most qualified respondent, following in second with BCC Engineering, and lastly, following in third place was Alleguis Architect. On February 8th, 2021, staff made a recommendation to begin negotiations with the highest ranked and most qualified respondent, Bermello Ajamil and Partners, in which same was approved by council. Staff met with Bermello Ajamil and Partners and negotiations were held on February 19th and February 25th, in which staff negotiated an hourly fee schedule in accordance with the CCNA, which is attached on Exhibit B, and 2, the continuing professional services agreement favorable to the city. These items are attached and have been reviewed by our city attorney, Heidi Sarah, and the city will also issue work orders to the consultant pursuant to this agreement on an as-needed basis.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to move, Mayor.
Second.
Discussion.
I have one question, Mayor.
Go ahead.
We, at the last meeting, I know there was someone from the second, I guess the company that was vetted second, who questioned the process. And we discussed that right now it had to be our first company has to meet all the requirements. Are we past that then? And they've met all the requirements and we're going through with it? Or are we still at by passing this resolution?
So yes, as soon as we begin negotiations with the first contractor and we are able to reach a negotiated contract with them, then we stop that process and this process does not continue. Had we not been able to meet any requirements and negotiations with B&A, then we would have continued. However, once we moved on and negotiated costs or pricing with the second engineer, architect and engineer, then we were not able to go back to B&A at that point.
All right, thank you.
Call the vote, please.
Vice Mayor Garcia,
Yes.
Councilman Best,
Aye.
Councilwoman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Behet,
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes, 11D, a resolution.
This is a recommendation by Public Works that council approve a professional services agreement with BTS Land Services Corp. For an initial 1-year term period with an option to renew 4 additional 1-year terms in the amount of $5,000 per the lowest responsible quote after obtaining 3 written quotes attached for arborist services citywide as funds were budgeted in the fiscal year 2021 budget. Would you like me to read the discussion?
Before we do, I have a request if possible. Tammy, or the manager, are we on a set timeline for the approval of this item? Because you're asking just for an additional $5,000 on top of the $100,000 that was approved back in October.
Right.
So is there, obviously we don't have an arborist on staff. We're asking to get this done right now.
Well,
But is there?
currently we have 4 applications pending since November to be approved for tree trimming services and or removal services from 4 of the residents in Miami Springs. So I guess we could go ahead and, if we don't want to approve this tonight, basically we're just over exceeding the budget by whatever those charges would be charged in order to meet those 4 application requirements.
Because in other words, who would do those 4 applications? What arborists? Would it still be these same folks?
Right now, it would be BTS because they're the only ones that we have, or we could call others, but right now we could utilize their services because they already are on board with the tree trimming and planting services that we currently do for the city.
Mayor?
Yeah.
Tammy, this is Heidi. I thought that the issue was also that our scope of services with BTS currently does not include the arborist services. So we would be adding this service on. It's not just a budget increase, but it's an actual additional service.
That is correct.
Yeah. If council would oblige, I would like to have the item deferred until the next council meeting so I can, I guess, discuss some concerns and issues that I have with staff looking into this. Is that possible? Can we do that, please?
Remember, all you're approving here is $5,000 for a tree arborist that we don't have.
I understand.
And
Okay.
we need someone after Tom Nash. Tom Nash was our city arborist. We don't have one now. These people are willing to come in and do that. So the only thing this really for $5,000 shouldn't even come to council. The only reason it's coming is because it exceeds my spending limit for the PO that was issued to BTS. So that's
To the
only-
vendor, correct.
Through the
Chair, I
chair,
have a-
through the chair, real quick.
Wait,
Oh, sorry.
you got it first.
Just a quick question. If my memory serves me correctly, as part of our Tree City USA designation, that we have to have an arborist or arborist services, right, in order to maintain that designation as Tree City USA. Okay.
Yes,
Through-
Answer the question, Tammy.
Okay, through the chair.
Go ahead.
yes,
Tammy,
that
can you
is correct. Yes, we should have an arborist on site, yes. And that arborist, this arborist will also assist us within utilizing and qualifying and doing the annual application that is required to remain a Tree City USA as well.
But we haven't had an arborist since Tom left, correct? And
Correct. Tom
th-
had just finished the last year's application before he left.
so the application is not due yet. So
Oh,
there's
You
no
have applications pending.
applications for tree trimming.
City
applica-
residential applications are pending because they've come in and asked for either to trim a tree or to cut down a tree. So 4 of those applications are pending. The application for Tree City USA is not pending. We're in good stands with that right now.
When you say there's applications pending, there's applications from residents for them to be able, for the trees to be able to be trimmed, for the residents to be able to trim them. And we're waiting to have an arborist, I guess, to come in and look at that to say whether or not they can or can't be trimmed. And then the residents on their own dime are having these trees trimmed.
That is
Or is it a-
correct. So the arborist would only help us mitigate what it would be required to mitigate either particularly the removal services of a tree rather than the trimming. Tree trimmings are allowed but to a certain point, but the arborist would allow that resident or show that resident how much of it can be removed without penalty to them. And if in this case, I don't know what the applications are, whether the removal or trimmings, but if there are removals, then the arborist would help us with the mitigation portion of that too. What would be required of the resident to mitigate the removal of those trees?
So in all my time up here, isn't there a calculation that we have to, why would you need, there's a calculation through the county, what percentage and so on you can do. Why would you need an arborist to tell what we already have written on paper, what has to be done? The second question comes into play is, if this is a requirement, that this has nothing to do with Tree City USA, is that correct?
I think it does, sir.
No, wait.
The requirement to have an arborist, yes, is part of our requirement for Tree City USA. We have to
Why
have a
can't-
hired either an in-house arborist or an arborist that is hired under us. Yes.
Okay, I guess it goes this way. How do you pay for this? If the residents cutting their tree or trimming their tree, why wouldn't it be part of their percentage to pay the city back to pay for this $5,000? Why wouldn't we have it where why would the city pay the cost for the resident to do their tree trimming or cut their tree down?
I don't think that's, in my understanding of how the mitigation works, Mayor, is the arborist goes, and because I know some residents have reached out to me about trees that they would like removed on the swale. And
Are we talking about swale now or trees inside their property?
On the right now, in reference to trees on the property,
This is
that's
on the
what residents
property,
are
yeah.
questioning right now.
okay, or property, and the arborist goes and actually evaluates, because there's certain trees that perhaps they're protected, but they're damaging the house. There's a lot of different conditions. So the arborist actually goes and decides whether the tree can be removed, will approve the removal, or whether there is some cutting back or, root cutting or whatever that can be done that would alleviate the problem. And I first of all, I think the $5,000 for an arborist service, I'm guessing would be a lot more if it wasn't that we're already adding it
The
to
contract.
this other service. Because I can't imagine we could just get an arborist service for
No.
5,000. But the other thing too is if we've got residents pending, and this is something that I know I hear, and I'm sure we all hear, is, the dissatisfaction with residents of the delays, that when they're applying for something, they're ready to do something and they're waiting for the city to give them the approval. And if we have residents that are waiting for an arborist, and the arborist hasn't been here since, when did Tom leave? I don't even know, November, whatever. For $5,000, I think we need to move forward, because ultimately we have to facilitate. We shouldn't keep our residents waiting, to our next meeting.
Yeah, thank you. Through the chair, I kind of liked where Councilman Garcia was going with this initially, but now thinking about it and weighing it a little more after what I've just heard up here, I'm going to ask one simple question, and that's all I'm going to ask. Is it favorable to the city that we approve this tonight?
Of course. Yes. Yes, sir.
Motion to move the item, sir.
I'll second it.
Okay. So
I got a
for,
first and second.
yeah,
Any
for discussion, Tammy, anywhere on in BTS's landscape service contract, do we allow or not allow for them to do residential work within the city of Miami Springs?
As far as arborist services,
As far as landscape services?
I don't know. I'd have to read through the initial contract. I don't recall, honestly.
So for me, it's more of the fox watching the hen house. You have, and I'm okay. I want to clarify. I'm okay with us having an arborist. I'm okay with us paying. I think $5,000 is a gift for us for an arborist. I've had to personally pay an arborist to come look at my trees before, not using the city's, because I didn't want anybody thinking that I was using the city services. So I know this is very inexpensive to have somebody on staff doing it. That's not my concern. When I read that the same company that we are using to do our tree trimming services is also the same company that's telling us whether or not a tree is hat racked or is cut correctly or incorrectly, I can tell you of at least 3 times that I personally know that our former public works director, arborist, has told the company, hey, listen, by the way, you guys did that wrong. You got to fix it. And it's been fixed. So now you've got a company that's doing the tree trimming, first of all, for the city, is the same one that is our arborist that's letting us know whether or not it was hat racked or cut in one way or another. So that's what I see as the fox watching the hen house. And then on top of that, that is also the person that comes to the house as an arborist to tell Mr. Garcia, this is how he should or shouldn't cut the tree. And then, whether it's favorable to say yes or how much the mitigation is going to be, and then say, by the way, I can also trim the tree for you and offer that same service.
Well, I just want to mention to you as well that Laz and Lisette have both mentioned to me at Public Works that they are still going to, regardless of whether BTS or someone else takes over the arborist services, they're still going to basically monitor over their work as well. But because they're not licensed arborists, they really wanted somebody with a little bit more knowledge of the trees that they could work with. But I see where you're going with this, and what I could have them do is honestly, if they are going to have BTSs be the arborist, obviously we don't want BTS being hired to do the same work that they're being the arborist for.
Right. Well, that's one of my concerns that I would have preferred to have brought it up and not be discussing the item at this moment. And I apologize for not bringing it up before we had the meeting. But as soon as I read that they're the same person that does the tree trimming and they're going to residents' houses and tell them that's my concern. So if I'm going to get a yes vote, it's going to be with an amendment that they cannot do residential work in the same town where they're trimming trees for the city, and then also trying to get work in the city for it. It would be no different than, one of our staff members getting work on the side here in the city and the house. We would be completely against it, and I would be completely against that. So if it stands as is, I'll tell you right now, my vote is a no vote. If the motion is amended.
Through the chair, I'd like to respond to Councilman Garcia on that. First of all, as I said earlier, I appreciate you your initial take on this.
Thank you.
To me, right now, sir, this appears to be a stopgate measure to fix something until we're able to put it in proper form. On the upside, they're entertaining 4 people right now that are going to assume the thing. This is not to reiterate, but a stopgate matter, a stopgate
I agree.
agenda item that's going to get us to that point.
I agree.
I totally agree with you that we should not be surveilling ourselves in that area. You're totally right
we can
about
amend
that.
it, by the way.
Then should we
So you
amend it
amend
that
it.
this
You can
is-
amend it. You can still have it. Let them come in. The vote would be yes tonight.
Mhm.
I mean, it might still be yes. I'm just telling you for
Right.
my yes vote is to let them know that we don't want them doing the work within the city for our residents if they're going to be the ones that are
I
that are
see where
doing.
you're Heidi, is there a way to put an amendment into the contract where anything that work related to arborists that they do, they can't also do the actual work?
I think maybe we should discuss it with the contractor, and I
Okay.
think, Tammy, my understanding of this contract was that the arborist was going to be basically supplementing the services we used to receive in-house.
Hmm.
And that it was
Correct.
for public areas, not an arborist to go on to a resident's private property and make a determination there.
It would be utilized for both, Heidi. It would be utilized for our determination of any damaged or trees within our swale area citywide, but also it would be the arborist would be approving and signing off on residential applications who are applying for tree trimming and or removal services within their own homes.
Through the chair, I think that says it all right there with the assistant manager just mentioned. And I'm willing to support Mr. Garcia's amendment to this vote tonight.
Okay, we can amend it.
So I will, I'll
Have to be brought up again.
No.
I'll withdraw my initial motion and I will re-motion that we move it with Councilman Garcia's amendment.
Which is they cannot.
We're okay with putting them onto the contract. Let me restate it if possible.
Right.
We go along with adding them on
Exactly what you
for
said.
the additional $5,000 first, or sorry, that's second. First of all, is allowing for that use to their contract, which isn't in there, barring that they will not be doing work for residences. I know you still want to have the discussion with them, but we're making our motion up here. If they disagree with it, then they
Yep.
don't have to agree to it.
But
Barring them from doing work for our residences.
Any work they recommend as
Right.
an arborist cannot be also to be done
Done by
them.
that company.
Yeah, well, that's great, but I'll make it clear. I don't like the fact that they are our tree trimming service and doing work for residents in the city as well.
That's what I'm
So-
supporting.
So I'm,
So with your amendment, through the chair, Mayor, you got a motion.
To say it in the affirmative, they would be able to make the assessment on whether the tree needs to be cut or not, or
Yes, ma'am.
whether it's been hat racked,
yes, ma'am.
but they cannot perform the service of cutting down the tree if it needs to be cut or doing things like that.
Right. You can't be duplicitous.
That's correct.
Yeah, I'm okay with that for now. Yeah. That's the first, he withdrew his first. So
I
I'll
withdrew
second
my
it.
first and I would re-motion that we do it considering Councilman Garcia's amendment.
And I'll second it based on that.
Okay, any further
Motion.
discussion? I got one question. So in other words, when when a resident wants to cut a tree down or trim a tree, they have to get an arborist to say whether that's.
No.
Do they have to?
Depends on the tree.
No,
It's on the tree.
no, they don't have
I
to.
don't- They don't,
Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. They don't have to.
I don't think they have to,
No.
do they?
No, but guess
Then why
what?
do why do we need their? Why do we need their?
species.
Is Laz on the line or is he on
I
Zoom?
mean, why do we need their service why do we
I
need
think-
this extra? I don't understand.
I don't
the-
believe we
the-
have Laz on the line. However, if it's a clear cut, this is a nuisance tree and and Public Works, either Laz or Lisette, determine that it is a nuisance tree and it is on the list that can be removed. I'm sure, they are already doing that type of service. But if it's a protected tree or it gets into how much of percentage of trimming can be done, That's really where it gets a little more tricky, and that's where the arborist would really have to come in hand for them, for their services. But if it's a cut, they know that it's a nuisance tree, and they know how to mitigate those, and they've already handled some of those applications, some of those issues.
Great.
Through the chair, just one quick question, Tammy, but outside of these 4 applications that are pending, that's not the only role that the arborist plays in the city, right?
Pretty much.
That is correct. That is not going to be the only role that they'll play. Correct. They're going to also assist us with the initial Tree City USA applications. And they do have a list of things that they can help them with as far as maintaining the tree canopy and the count citywide. So they will be helping with those services.
But I'm sorry, but Mayor Garcia brings something up. So then they're in essence now they're their own inspector.
No, I think
They make their own call even on our trees now, without an independent opinion.
That's correct, Tammy?
Well, right now, the way we're going to word it, no, they won't be able to do that because they will be limited to not performing any of the work for residential and
But I think Mayor.
The mayor's asking about the city's trees.
Right.
They could get away with hat racking the tree, and their arborist says, well, you didn't hat rack one of our trees. Or
And what she just said is that Laz and Lisette, is that the other person?
Lisette, yes, Lisette Fuentes, yes.
Are overseeing and policing the
arborist.
The arborist, which they're doing that now.
I think it's also important to note it's not a landscaper that's making this. This is a licensed arborist. I mean,
that is correct.
All right, we got a first and a second.
Yes, sir.
With the amendment, call the vote.
Vice Mayor Garcia,
Yes.
Councilman Best,
Aye.
Councilwoman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Behet,
yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes, good catch there, Mayor.
My pleasure.
Nice job, Councilman Garcia.
We go to 11B. No, 11E.
This is a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Miami Springs, Florida, repealing and replacing resolution number 2021-3896, co-designating a portion of Curtis Parkway between Deer Run and Pinecrest Drive as Sebastian Ortiz Way, providing for authorization and providing for an effective date. After our last meeting, where a council had passed a resolution naming it Sebastian Strong Way, we heard back from the family, and they proposed that we change it to his actual name, Sebastian Ortiz Way.
Okay,
Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
call the vote.
Vice Mayor Garcia,
Yes.
Councilman Best,
Aye.
Councilwoman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Behet,
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes, and I guess for Mayor Garcia's, what kind of timetable are we looking at maybe?
If I can report on the actual timeline, his birthday is May 10th.
Okay.
It wasn't March 10th. So I
you
had the wrong
Yeah,
M month.
Okay.
So it is in May. So we'll have time to go through the process.
you-
And Erica has informed me that the county is already going through the process to jump on and co-designate. It is their street, Curtis Parkway. So they're going to co-designate
All
with
right.
us. So it'll be the county.
Just as a through the chair, just as a side note, I almost entertained after our last meeting 2 weeks ago, calling the clerk and asking her to undo my first on that, because I know that you were very passionate about that, and I
Appreciate it. Thank you,
kind of
sir.
jumped the boat on that. I should have allowed you to take it as you did tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I saw your nod. I appreciate you.
Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Lovey.
Thank you.
Gee whiz.
I still got one more meeting, man. Stop
We
it.
love you. These two people love you. Why don't you guys sit on together? My God. All right, let's go to. I guess we got to go to these
16
every
years,
year. Every year we have to do this.
We have to do this.
I don't
Yes,
understand
know.
why every year, but and it's the toughest thing to do because you
Well,
can't say anything.
Stain.
You can't say anything bad, right?
Why?
Right?
Why?
You can't say
We have
anything bad.
before.
Oh yeah.
You can't give somebody a no vote of confidence. Oh wait, I've done that before.
Yeah,
so
I know
maybe you
that.
can't. We go to 12A, a vote of confidence for the city clerk as required by section 1.011 of the city charter. And the only city clerk I know is Erica, right? You're the city
That's the
clerk.
only one. Motion to give the vote of confidence, Mayor.
Do I have a
Second.
second?
You have a,
Second?
Sorry.
Do we want to, we want to
for discussion?
groom her and stuff? And make her feel
Sure.
good?
I think she should be groomed. She
Go ahead,
should be
Bob, you
groomed.
go first.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, through the chair. Some of us up here remember Magali Valls very well. And I got to tell you, Magali Valls didn't have the staff that Erica has right now back in the day. But on the tail of what Magali Valls did in this town under 3 previous city managers, the third being here, she's a gem. Erica has, in every way, shape, or form, delivered on everything that I have asked her. And I'm just one of 5 up here. And not only has she delivered on it, but she has exceeded herself in delivering on it in many occasions. And I greatly thank you for that. I think you provide a tremendous service to the city, and you certainly got my vote.
I'll go down the line. 2.
Okay. Erica, I appreciate your help on so many things. Any question that comes up, anything that I'd like you and your staff to look into, I ask you to, and right away, y'all do that and get back to me. You're available at all times and very polite and respectful and just a good working relationship with all of us, I know. So I totally appreciate the work you do for us. I know it's hard to juggle so many requests from all of us, but you do it with grace, and I appreciate that. And the last question I wanted to ask is, which of us up here do you like the best?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Maria, that's not fair.
I know the answer.
Uh-oh.
Here, go ahead.
So
I'm just
You'd
going in
be
order.
disappointed with the answer.
as the most inexperienced member up here, I certainly bump my heads every so often, and I can't say enough about all the work that Eric has done in my behalf. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Thank you for all the hard work that you do. Not just for your council, because you're talking about having to deal with, 5 bosses, but at the same time, in such a long span of time where I haven't gotten a single issue or complaint about the clerk's department. It's phenomenal the way that you deal with so many different facets. There's a lot of things going on now that didn't exist back then. You're having to deal with, especially with technology and so forth. You've adapted. I can tell you something. You were a damn good city clerk when we voted to put you in place here, but you've evolved. I don't say you've gotten better because you were bad back then. No, you've evolved into this monster in a positive way, learning, improving on issues that I didn't even think you needed to be improved on. I mean, we've been through so much together. We even got sued together. And we came through. We won. We as a city, Erica and I.
We did.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We did. So thank you for all your hard work. You do a great job.
Thank you so
Thank you so much.
Erica, is there days this year?
Oh, I don't know.
Are you? If there are you going?
I'll let you know.
I got you.
All right, I'd like to say that first of all, she's learned that meatballs aren't the way to catch fish in the canal.
Yes, I know.
I taught her that. I think that one thing we got to give her kudos for is that seems to be, we're not in office, a good leader with the 2 people that she has. You never hear any scuttlebutt that I hear about that, which is a positive.
Ever.
The one thing I will miss is that I never got your window for you.
Oh,
I got to say that, but
Yeah, you did.
she never got the window.
Yeah, remember?
It's like red buttons never.
No,
got
remember
there.
the window.
I know.
We gave her the frame with a window.
Oh
Remember?
yeah, that's right. She's always there for everybody. You know,
You still got that?
now that would be going out of budget. I would do that. But she does good for everybody. She's always
Yeah, she does.
available. And God bless you and your
Thank
kid.
you.
And
Wow.
I know you're gonna be getting married soon.
soon, hopefully soon.
Oh.
Yes.
Hopefully.
I got one more
Well,
meeting.
with the pandemic.
Oh yeah.
With the pandemic to get close
It could,
together
yeah.
right now. So
It could be a drive. It could.
Hey,
Hey, you could do a drive-by. You know.
but did I get a first and a second?
You got it, sir.
I call a vote.
Vice Mayor Garcia,
Yes.
Councilman Beth,
Aye.
Councilwoman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Fahet,
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes.
Erica, and that goes for
Thank
your
you so
staff
much.
too, for
Thank
Juan
you.
and
Oh, your
Mary.
staff, yeah, Juan and Mary. Yes, absolutely.
That was my thinking about how you,
Sure.
they respect you. All right, now we go to, I don't know, the vote of confidence for the city attorney as required by section 8-01-1
Yep.
of the city charter.
Yep.
But our city attorney's not here. Where's our city attorney?
I think it's co-chair. I think
There's-
it's
oh, she's here
co-chaired.
again.
It's Danny Espino and Haiti Sarah. It's co-chaired, I think. Got a second here. Or whoever.
There you
To
go.
go down the line again, you got,
Yeah, I'll do it first, I guess.
no, let's go.
Well,
this way.
no. Okay, go that way then.
Mayor
Yeah,
Garcia,
that's
you
fair.
go first.
That's fair enough.
Well, I just want to say how incredibly smart it was of council, Mr. Dan Estino, to send his partner, not in crime, and to sit in place because you have been a delight. You know, it's been incredible. You're coming to us, making sure that we're doing the right thing up here, and I feel safe and secure that we've got yourself and Dan and Rhoda protecting the city and making sure that you guys give us the best advice possible to move forward. Sometimes it's not the answer we want, but it's definitely the answer that's going to take care of us and protect us legally. So thank you very much for all the hard work you all do. I'm looking forward to you all being the city attorneys for the city of Miami Springs for a long time. Thank you. My pleasure.
Walter.
Yeah, and Heidi, I can't thank you enough for all the long technical conversations that we've had. You're extremely insightful. I always feel like I learned something from talking to you, and you help me to make better decisions up here. So I thank you for that.
Like Councilman Fahet said, one of the things I really appreciate about Heidi is when I have a question about something, you love to look into it. It's fun for you. She'll tell me, this is really fun for me. So I feel like, we're having a long discussion, but I know that, that you really are doing it because you're so committed and you do such a thorough research on issues. And like the vice mayor said, it's not always the answer we want to hear when we ask you for advice, but ultimately we're asking for sometimes for courses of action that, whatever's in the best interest of the city in the long term. And when you tell us that something can't be this way or has to be another way because legally that's how it is, that helps us make our decisions here. And that's the kind of counsel that we need, obviously. So your expertise, your knowledge, your accessibility at all hours on weekends and evenings is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Councilman.
Through the chair, thank you, Mayor. Probably one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in my life was not to go to law school. Having said that, I'm going and as we talked about the clerk a moment ago, I'm going to bring another flash from the past back, Jan Seeden, who was a very good friend of mine, still is. Jan and I talk often, and even on issues with the city, even though he's not in control anymore. But having said that, no city attorney previously has ever extended me the amount of time as Haiti Sarah. She will call me on an issue or text me and ask what my opinion is. Do you have any thoughts on this particular item, that particular item? And I will return her call. Haiti, on at least 2 or 3 occasions, we've been on the phone together for 30 to 45 minutes on an issue. And I greatly appreciate your legal advice and counsel on that. And you really straightened me out in a couple of areas over the time that we've known each other. No, she has. And gosh, I think you got a solid vote up here. There's no question about it. Thank you so much.
I had to get, he brought up this Jan Seeden and everything. We work with somebody for 12, 15 years.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
you get, it's like a good, nice shoe that you wear all the time golfing. It feels good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Then you buy a new pair and you get a blister. And I had a little, it took me time to understand her, but in reality, you're a good city attorney. You really are. If not a good one, a very good one.
Boy.
And I appreciate my time with you, and hopefully you could continue. And I think that Dan, you could say hi to him for us. And I know he helps you in the background, and he deserves a little bit of what's going on here too tonight, because I know he doesn't come here, but he does. He is part of the team also, and a person that came from Miami Springs. That when we hired this firm, Dan, some people gave a hard time about hiring Dan, but why wouldn't you hire somebody like Councilman Garcia, Mayor Garcia said earlier on, somebody within the city that achieved to be a lawyer, go through it, and then come in here and then have a choice to have her here help us with everything we do.
Yep.
And we appreciate you. Thank you. I got a first and second.
You do, sir.
Call the vote.
Vice Mayor Garcia,
Yes.
Councilman Best,
Aye.
Councilwoman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Fahet,
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes. You having fun?
Absolutely.
All right.
Through the chair, can I ask real quick? Can I ask the clerk, Madam Clerk, who made those motions? Just out of curiosity.
Vice Mayor Garcia
Okay.
and seconded by Councilman Fahet.
Thank you.
There's over here on this side of the plexiglass.
Yeah. That's why I couldn't hear it.
That's too bad, huh? Let's go with City Attorney. You have anything to say for us tonight?
No, Mayor, the only thing is thank you for all of you for your kind remarks. We love working for the city of Miami Springs. It's not just myself. A lot of times you don't see the people in the background, but it's a whole team. And I can't do this and Dan can't do this without them. So when it's a police issue, sometimes I kick it over to our police legal advisor. I kick things over to other people in the firm who are super experts, and they help me and Dan look good. And of course, we're involved in the day-to-day, but it really is a team effort. So thank you.
You got it. You got it. City Manager? Anything from the City Manager?
Yes, Mayor and Council.
Is the angel going to talk again? The angel that talks.
No, not, I'll let William do it tonight. Thank you.
All right. You're still here, though.
I am.
The big news we received this week that we put out that FEMA will be setting up a vaccination site. Originally, it was supposed to start Wednesday the 10th. Today, they confirmed that it's actually going to go from Thursday the 11th to Wednesday the 17th. And it will be at the community center from 9 to 5 p.m. I should get confirmation tomorrow on which vaccines they're using. I know they're using mostly Pfizer, and they're also using some Johnson & Johnson. So they'll let me know tomorrow. They may have both. And what they usually do is when one runs out, they'll go to the next one. But that's going on now. And the governor just changed the order to include people 60 years old and over from 65, but that won't kick in until Monday the 15th. So I want to get with FEMA in the next couple of days and see if they're going to be honoring that on Monday so that we can put word out that if you're 60 and over, you can be vaccinated. There's different groups online. You'll see in our post different groups that are eligible, but it's starting to open up all over. And I think in the next few weeks, you're going to see a lot more availability to everyone.
2 questions to clarify. 1, it's a walk-up situation. You don't
It's
have
a
to.
walk-up, no appointments.
Yeah.
And 2, it is Saturday and Sunday.
The what?
It is going to be Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday, it includes Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
They're going to be here for the
wanna
whole
make-
week.
Yeah, they're clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's Saturday and Sunday, and you don't need to get an appointment. You can walk up and so on. Be patient. I know that there's, it's going to be maybe good lines the first one. Be patient. And most important thing is to get the vaccine in your arm. That's the most important thing.
Right.
Councilman Best,
Thank you, Mayor.
let me ask you, did you get your vaccine?
I've had both of my inoculations. I got my first one in January, and I got my second one February 5th.
How old are you?
I'm 68, sir.
Okay, just make sure. Did you, Councilman?
Hey, whoa. Wait a minute. No. That ain't working, Mayor. That ain't working.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to extend my appreciation to council tonight for reconsidering on the Jazzercise agenda item. I know it was somewhat contentious the last time we discussed it, and it went down on a 2-3 vote. But I greatly appreciate you guys tonight understanding what's going on with it. And I don't think that we should have had benefit of open forum prior to the issue, by the way. But nonetheless, I think we did the right thing tonight, and I thank you all for that. Secondly, I'd like to thank the Women's Club today for hosting for the candidates that are running for groups 2 and 4. It was very interesting. I talked to all the candidates personally, as did many others up here. They just do a great job every cycle, hosting that and having everybody from around town come in that are interested. And I appreciate those of the residents that came and heard what they had to say. So thank you, candidates, and thank you, Women's Club. And finally, a question. Erica, is the election for all precincts this year at the Country Club?
Yes.
Thank
all
you.
precincts.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilwoman Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to again thank William and the senior center staff for the vaccination. The work that y'all have done since January 1st, 4th, or whatever should be a full-time job. And you and the senior center staff have been doing this, making sure that we can, any possibility, any opportunity to have vaccinations for our residents, either here locally in Miami Springs or getting them to Jackson and every other site. Y'all have done this just nonstop, and I know that it's an immense amount of work, but you've really accomplished so much. I mean, I'm in awe of what my little city, how mighty it's been on this front, and actually for the whole country, if you think about it, or at least in our state, that the vaccinations were just approved in November, and here we are in March, and a great deal of us in our community are being vaccinated, and probably within the next month or two, or at least by the summer, most of us who want to be vaccinated will be.
Mhm.
That's astounding what we've been
astounding.
able to accomplish, what this country's been able to accomplish with that.
Yep.
The other thing that I wanted to mention is to, again, like Councilman Best said, to thank the Women's Club for putting together the Candidates Forum. They do that for every single election cycle. They do it just as a community service, an opportunity for residents to get to know who's running, and it's greatly appreciated. It's something that they set up tents and everything, just go to so much work to do this, and really it's something that they do for the residents to make City Hall more accessible to everyone. And the last thing I wanted to say is hurricane season is right around the corner. It starts June 1st. I don't know if you've heard, but they're even thinking about
May.
bringing it up earlier this year, because in the past few years, we've had so many significant storms in May. So I want to remind everyone to start getting your hurricane plans, dust them off, start thinking about everything, especially with pandemic. Some of your situations may have changed. And for our city, for William, if we could start working on updating our city's emergency plan and hurricane plan. I know that always takes a while to do, but it's important that we have it ready as soon as hurricane season starts. Thank you.
So just to piggyback on what's already been said, thank you to the Women's Club. I was out there also today, and they do a great service to the city for residents to be able to speak to candidates. So thank you for that. And also to underscore what the mayor said, we saw today that the CDC put out a statement saying that if people are vaccinated, they could be maskless together. Which is great news. Let's all just get, as the mayor said, the vaccines in our arms. And I think that we're well on our way to getting back to normal. I also wanted to provide a shout out to a Miami Springs resident, Mr. Carlos Gomez, who's the one who spearheaded last year and is doing so again this year, the flags on Curtis Parkway. And I've been privy to some of the plans as far as they're going to go this year. And there are a lot of great things planned with respect to that, because that was a beautiful gesture last year. And finally, Saturday from 4 to 7, if you guys are available, the Lions Club is having their lasagna dinner and trying to raise some money for a good cause. So if you can, please go out and support the Lions Club.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Well, we mentioned the Women's Club and thanking them what a great job that they did for hosting that Meet the Candidates Forum, but it's for elections. So I want to make sure to say it and make it very clear. Hopefully there's folks watching us at home. I'm assuming the Gazette will have it front and center in their paper coming up at the end of this month. Again, unfortunately, they're only producing one paper a month, but folks ought to come out and vote.
Mhm.
I'm very happy and
Good
very
point.
excited that
Good point.
Hey, sweetheart, you can come over here. I'm very happy and very excited that, come here, baby. I brought my bodyguard with me just to make
Yeah,
sure
man.
everything's okay.
The muscle.
That the election, we need to get more people out there. You know, unfortunately or fortunately, let me say fortunately, the councilwoman was elected without opposition. But as soon as folks see that there is no mayor on the ballot, we have a very low voter turnout. So if in our outreach to residents, if we could please, as council members, you know, for every tweet or social media outreach that we do or talking to folks, remind them they still got to come out and vote. It's important. There's nothing worse than having a very low voter turnout and having somebody get elected because only 1,000 people showed up to vote. Let's try to turn out the vote on April 6th.
You got it,
please.
sir. Good
And
point.
I'm going to remind folks that there's early voting on the Friday and the Saturday before the election.
Mhm.
That's the 2nd and the 3rd, I believe. So that's Good Friday
Mhm.
and Holy Saturday,
Mhm.
Easter weekend. So there might be a lot of folks that are out of town. Let's get them out to come out early voting and absentee ballots. Absentee ballots will be mailed out on Tuesday, a week from tomorrow.
Hmm.
The elections department is going to be dropping those in the mail.
And they have to be requested now too. So you,
There's folks that are already on a permanent. They can
Right.
still request them.
right.
Folks can request an absentee ballot. You can call the city clerk. City clerk has those absentee ballot request forms. But if you're already on a permanent list, I'd say there's at least 1,000 people that are already going to be getting
I think right
an
out there,
absentee
see, yeah.
ballot at their house, whether they're requesting another one or not.
Mhm.
They're getting it.
Mhm.
So
And I believe as late as 10 days before the start of voting, you could still go online and register for the
and
absentee
register,
balloting.
and register
So
for the absentee ballot.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah, Walt, that's a good point.
Yes, sir. That's great. Besides the yes, I'm sorry, Mayor.
Oh, finish.
Besides the asking folks to come out and vote, the issue with the golf balls, over there by
Yeah.
on Eldrin and so forth,
Mm-hmm.
it concerns me. I'm curious what policy we do or don't have in place for, for somebody to want to make a report on it. I'm not saying the officer did something wrong or not, but if somebody requests a report to be done, there's something that could be put on paper that says this person is claiming that there's an issue.
Remember we went through that about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. It was a big issue.
Yes.
You and I were on council then.
Yes. I remember that. That's why specifically
Yeah.
to this issue now,
Yeah.
I mean, it isn't an issue until it's an issue for one person. And then to that one person,
Right.
it's the biggest issue there is.
Right.
So I applaud resident that came up here and spoke about it twice already. We don't have to agree or think that there is a bunch of balls coming out, but if just one ball came across and hit somebody that she knows,
Mhm.
it's an issue for her. We are a small town. We're a small city. We cater to, we are a boutique city. We cater to issues like that. I think that's what makes us one of the greatest cities in the world. So if that can happen, but not just happen, I'd like to see a response and a report back to everybody on council on what's the issue with the balls coming over or with this particular issue. I feel very bad that she comes up here and I have to tell her, I don't know, I'm sorry. So I'll tell you, I apologize. And I'm sorry that I'm not able to give you a response. If you were to come up and ask me outside, I don't know the answer to this. We hand it off and staff always does a phenomenal job about it. When they tell you the fire hydrant's being passed off to the county and to deal with water, and when they tell you it's, public works is on top of it, they're dealing with it. It's on top of it. But in a city this small, we should be able to give you a better answer than that in such a short time. But I will ask you, if you see that there's an issue and you're not getting a response, everybody up here
Give us a call.
is available.
Yep.
So if you can call us before you come up here and say, hey, this didn't happen, that would be great.
That
I
would
can
help.
guarantee you that if anybody's phone up here rings, it's going to get picked up. Promise you. Get it. I'll call the city clerk. She'll give you everybody's personal cell number here. Nobody up here has a secretary that screens their calls. Go and get it and say, hey, listen, it's been next week. This is what they said to me. And we'll get an answer for you. Okay. No, thank you very much. And my bodyguard here has been asking me for a few weeks if she could do something and recognize certain staff members. So I'm respectfully requesting an item to be placed on the next budget. On our next agenda. There are some staff members that Addison would like to have recognized. You want to tell the council what it's about? What you want to a little closer?
So at my school, Isaac Academy, they were doing the DARE program, and I wanted to say thank you for the 2 officers that had helped me and my classmates. And I wanted to talk about the things that they had taught me. And
Sounds good enough to me.
yeah,
So yeah, she would like for a couple of the officers to be recognized that came out to their school during the COVID time, to recognize them. And I guess if there's some type of certificate or recognition that could be given to the two police officers, you're not a first daughter anymore, but the former first daughter would like to respectfully make that request if council would oblige.
Let's bring it.
I'll let
Well, you know,
my-
better yet, why don't you go ask your Uncle Billy? Why are you asking me?
I'll agree.
It's not much
Uncle
quicker.
Billy.
I'll agree to that. That's fine with me. That's
Yeah.
fine with me.
Cool, we're good with that?
We're
Okay,
good
thank
with
you,
that.
council. I
She's
appreciate
gonna
it.
come too. She's gonna come though and help with the presentation
Okay.
on the
right.
26th. We're gonna.
Yeah,
do
she's
it.
got to do that though.
Right.
She's got to come now.
Yeah, did you hear Councilman Best? She's in.
You have to come. You have to come. Oh, that a girl.
So Billy's gonna make you give them the award.
You're gonna do this. You're gonna do the talking, and I'm gonna do the walking.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else here from you?
No, I'm good, Mr. Mayor. I'm good.
Anything- That's it. You're done.
I'm done. Thank you again
Oh,
very much
geez.
for this
Thanks.
wonderful opportunity you all have given me.
No, you're so sweet.
It's so
Right.
sweet.
Everybody, remember, be patient these next few days when you go to get your vaccine. And it's really nice that our city can do this. And I want you all to understand that it's open to everybody too. So I don't want to. I'm trying to get everything so that there's no problem. Is that this is a government-run thing from FEMA, from the federal government.
Mhm.
It's open to anybody. So I don't want the phone calls. I don't mind the phone calls, but I don't want anybody to get upset with to say that this person's not from Miami Springs or so on.
Right.
So it's because I've gotten calls about that,
Yeah, I have to.
about getting the food that when these things are put on by entities that it's inclusive to everybody. It's not something sponsored from Miami Springs. And the one resident, she was so sweet. We talked for a half an hour, and she couldn't get it that it was that way. And then we got through it, and then she sent me pictures of her getting her vaccine. So it was kind of neat. But anyway,
Wow, that's cool.
it was a good meeting tonight.
Nice
We
job,
made
Mayor.
some good
Nice job, sir.
decisions And we thought some things out that, very important. Hurt each other.
Yes, sir.
This meeting's adjourned. Okay.
Okay, we're doing this, right? Yes.
Yes, okay. One.
Oh, sorry.